I have reached this moment after allowing myself the time and space to understand what truly feels right, not just for me, but for her as well. Nothing about this decision was rushed or taken lightly. I spent days letting the possibilities settle in my mind, listening to my own thoughts, imagining how each choice might touch her life. And as I reflected, I realized that what guided me most was not obligation or pressure, but the genuine desire to make her feel safe, valued, and supported. This decision stands as a quiet symbol of how deeply I care for her, how much I want her to move through life feeling protected and understood. It's not about what benefits me, it's about honoring what brings light into her world, what comforts her, what makes her feel believed in. I want her to sense that every intention behind this choice centers on her happiness and her peace. I hope she can see how profoundly she matters to me, because this decision is not simply a choice. It is an expression of love and an invitation to something steadier and more meaningful for both of us. As I allowed my thoughts to settle even more, I found myself thinking about the smallest details that make her who she is. The way she speaks about her dreams with such tenderness, the way she looks toward the future with both courage and vulnerability, the way she brings this quiet warmth into my life without ever realizing the impact she has. All of these pieces of her shaped the path that led me here. I wanted to create something thoughtful, something that showed her she is not just someone I admire from afar, but someone I genuinely wish to build a future with. This decision is not merely practical, it is emotional, meaningful, rooted in a truth I feel every time I think of her. I want her to feel that this choice reflects my intention to grow with her, to understand her needs, and to support her dreams. Every aspect of it was shaped by her voice, her hopes, her quiet strength. And as I give life to this moment, I hope she can sense the sincerity carried within it. With every thought that guided me toward this choice, I felt myself becoming more aware of how much she has taught me about care, patience, and purpose. Decisions like this are not just about direction, they are about devotion. They are about shaping the space where another person can feel secure enough to flourish. I want her to know that I considered her feelings with the same care I would give to something delicate and precious. I want her to understand that I saw her dreams not as distant ideas, but as something worth supporting, protecting, and nurturing. This decision came from countless quiet reflections, imagining her reaction, imagining her smile, imagining that moment when she realizes this was all for her. My hope is that this brings her comfort, and that she feels the weight of affection behind every thought that led me here. The truth is that this choice grew into something far bigger than the decision itself. It became a reflection of what she represents in my life. A source of light, clarity, and steady purpose. I want her to feel confident knowing that I am here, truly present, not just in the easy moments, but in the decisions that shape our direction. I hope she senses how deeply I value her, not for what she offers, but for who she is at her core. Her kindness, her honesty, her ambition, her quiet courage, all of these qualities guided my heart as I decided what path to take. I want her to feel appreciated, to feel understood, to feel seen in a way that reminds her she is never alone. That is what this decision carries, the intention to uplift her, protect her, and honor the connection we share. I want her to understand that this choice was made with the desire to build something meaningful, something that reflects the trust I hope we continue to grow. I imagine her hearing these words and realizing she has inspired so much good in me. She encourages me, sometimes without knowing it, to push beyond my fears and step into the person I want to become. This decision, in many ways, is my response to the way she has shaped me. It is my way of saying that she is important, that she deserves someone who thinks deeply about her needs, and that I want to be that presence in her life. I hope she sees herself in every part of this choice. I hope she feels recognized and valued, not just as someone special, but as someone essential. I look at this decision and see a quiet promise woven into it, a promise to prioritize her happiness, to consider her feelings, to create a life where she never doubts her worth. I want her to know that she inspires me to be thoughtful, to be better, to be more attentive. The care I poured into this choice was shaped by her presence, by the way she speaks, by the way she believes in the things she loves. She makes me want to listen more carefully, plan more intentionally, and dream more bravely. This decision is not a grand gesture or an attempt to impress her. It is something simpler and far more honest, the desire to show her that her well-being genuinely matters to me. I want her to feel the sincerity in that truth. As I reflect on the moment, I finally said to myself, "This is the right choice." I remember the calm that settled inside me. It felt like clarity, like something I could trust. I thought of her smile and imagined how this might bring her comfort. I thought of the times she shared her worries with me, and how I wished I could lift them from her shoulders. I thought of her voice and how every word she speaks carries meaning. I realized then that this decision was not simply an action. It was a reflection of my commitment to her peace and happiness. I want her to see that every part of this was shaped by love, not expectation. I want her to know she is the heart of this choice, and that I mean every quiet promise it holds. This decision shaped itself through moments when I imagined her feeling more supported, more confident, more understood. I pictured how it might brighten her days in small ways, how it might ease her concerns, how it might help her feel cherished. I thought of how she has changed me, and how much I want to bring that same comfort into her life. So I allowed myself to take this step, knowing that it was aligned not only with what I felt, but with what I hoped for her. I want her to see that she is the reason I approached this decision with such care and dedication. She is the reason I wanted to make something meaningful out of it. She deserves that. She deserves to feel valued in ways that actions can express more clearly than words ever could. When I think about the future, I imagine one built on trust, respect, and quiet understanding. This choice is a small step toward that vision. It represents the desire to create a place where she feels safe and supported, where her dreams are honored, and where she never doubts that her feelings matter. I want her to know that this decision reflects a part of me that wants to accompany her through challenges and joys alike. She has given me strength simply by being who she is, and this is one way for me to offer something back. I hope she sees that this step was taken with her happiness at the center of it all. I imagine her listening to these words, perhaps wondering why I took so much time to think everything through. And I would tell her that she deserves decisions made with intention, decisions that reflect real care, decisions filled with thoughtfulness. She deserves someone who takes her heart seriously. That is why I moved slowly, carefully, gently toward this moment. And now that I am here, sharing this choice, I hope she feels the warmth behind it. I hope she feels the honesty and affection woven into every part of it. This is for her, completely for her. And I want her to know that. As I continue to reflect on this choice, I find that it is not merely a decision of the moment, but a decision that stretches far beyond the present. Each thought I had, each quiet moment I spent imagining her life, brought me closer to understanding what truly matters. It is not about grandeur or public acknowledgement. It is about creating stability, kindness, and a sense of certainty in her world. I want her to know that in every consideration, I imagined her feeling safe and cherished, that I imagined her knowing she is seen in ways that are deep and enduring. The value of this decision is not in its action alone, but in the way it communicates that her happiness is of utmost importance to me. That is why I approached it with such care, thinking not only of today, but of all the days that will follow, each one a quiet opportunity to support her, to lift her, to honor her presence in my life. I remember thinking about the times she has quietly given me her trust, moments that seemed small but carried immense meaning. Each of these moments reminded me of her generosity of spirit, the thoughtfulness with which she engages with the world. I wanted this decision to reflect that same spirit, to respond to her with the same care, the same attention, the same reverence that she has shown me. In my mind, I pictured how this choice could ease her worries, how it could allow her to move forward with more confidence, how it could demonstrate, without words, that I am present, that I am committed, that I care for her deeply. It became clear to me that the significance of this moment was not in the outcome alone, but in the intention, the thought, and the love behind it. I wanted her to feel that. Every time I imagined her reaction, I found myself drawn deeper into reflection. I thought of her laugh, her quiet gestures of kindness, the way she approaches life with a sincerity that inspires those around her. She has influenced me in ways I did not fully recognize until I began shaping this decision. She has taught me patience, empathy, and the importance of seeing the small, often unnoticed, needs of someone you care for. And it is these lessons, her lessons, that guided my heart as I considered how best to move forward. This is why the choice I made is not simply about practicality. It is about love expressed through attentiveness, devotion, and respect. Every consideration was filtered through her essence, her desires, and her comfort. I hope she can feel the thoughtfulness embedded in this moment. I hope she understands that no aspect of it was made lightly. Even in the quietest hours, when it seemed there was no need to act, I allowed myself to contemplate, to weigh, to imagine how each possibility might affect her. I wanted to anticipate her feelings, to honor her perspective, to approach this choice with the awareness that it is not simply about what I want, but about what will genuinely enhance her life. This process has been one of reflection and care, a demonstration that her life, her dreams, her peace of mind are worthy of deliberate, heartfelt consideration. It is my hope that she feels the sincerity in these intentions, the depth of care that guided each thought. In reflecting on our shared path, I began to see how much her presence has influenced me, not just in grand ways, but in the small, almost imperceptible moments. The comfort of her smile, the reassurance of her quiet confidence, the way she speaks with clarity and consideration. All of these things shaped the way I approached this decision. I realized that I wanted to honor that influence in the most meaningful way possible. I wanted my choice to reflect the value she brings into my life, not merely in words, but through action. That is why I allowed myself the time to think fully, to imagine each possibility, and to weigh every consideration against the happiness and well-being I hope she experiences. I hope that in seeing this, she understands how deeply she matters to me, and how intentionally this moment was created with her heart in mind. The care with which I approach this decision has been rooted in respect. Respect for her feelings, for the unique essence of who she is. I know that life is filled with uncertainties, but I also know that thoughtful choices, made with consideration for one another, can provide stability, trust, and reassurance. I wanted this choice to embody that stability, to communicate that she can rely on me not only in fleeting moments but in all the choices that will shape our future. I want her to feel that this decision, like all the steps I take in her presence, reflects a commitment to her happiness, her dreams, and her sense of security. It is a quiet pledge that she is at the center of my thoughts, at the core of my intentions, and in every way, valued and cherished. As I continued to reflect, I also found myself thinking about the responsibility inherent in caring deeply for someone. To truly consider her well-being is to take seriously the weight of every choice, no matter how small. I wanted her to feel the depth of that responsibility, to understand that this choice was not made casually, but with deliberate thought, awareness, and care. I wanted her to sense that my attention was focused entirely on what would bring her comfort, what would protect her sense of peace, and what would honor the love and trust we share. Each moment of reflection, each imagined scenario, reinforced my desire to ensure that this decision carried the utmost consideration for her happiness. I also considered the future, the life we can build together through choices made thoughtfully, intentionally, and with respect for one another. I envisioned a future where she feels supported in her ambitions, nurtured in her dreams, and secure in the knowledge that her feelings and well-being are always considered. This decision is part of that vision, a small but meaningful step toward cultivating a life filled with trust, love, and mutual respect. I hope that she recognizes that every layer of thought, every reflection, every careful consideration was inspired by the desire to see her thrive. I want her to feel not just the love, but the unwavering commitment behind each element of this choice. The process of reaching this decision was also one of self-reflection. I realized that to act with true care, I needed to understand my own intentions fully. I needed to ensure that what I offered her was aligned with the values I hold for myself and for us. It was not enough to act impulsively or out of habit. This choice required clarity, honesty, and integrity. I examined my motivations, my hopes, and my intentions, and I considered how each would impact her. I wanted this moment to be a reflection of my dedication, my sincerity, and my commitment to ensuring that she feels secure, valued, and understood. It is my hope that she can sense the thoughtfulness that shaped this decision, and that it brings her comfort in knowing that she is at the center of it. Even in moments of uncertainty, I allowed myself to return to her presence in my mind. I imagined her reactions, her comfort, her reassurance, and her understanding. I thought of how this choice could ease her burdens, bring her joy, and affirm the value I place on her. I wanted her to feel that the weight of my consideration is entirely for her, and that each step was taken with her best interests in mind. It was important to me that she understands that she is not simply a recipient of a decision, but the reason behind it, that she feels seen, valued, and honored through the care, intention, and reflection invested in this moment. My hope is that she senses the love and devotion that guided every thought leading to this choice. Through this process, I also realized how much patience and attentiveness matter when making decisions that affect another person. I allowed myself the time to contemplate, to reflect, and to consider all the nuances that her happiness might require. I did not rush, and I did not act lightly. I wanted to ensure that this choice was grounded in love, respect, and a desire to support her fully. In doing so, I hope she recognizes that every detail, every intention, and every imagined outcome was considered with her heart in mind. She is at the center of this decision, not just as an influence, but as the guiding principle. Every moment of reflection, every imagined scenario, every quiet thought was shaped by the desire to honor her, to uplift her, and to ensure that she feels valued. This step, like all steps I take for her, is ultimately about expressing the depth of care and respect I feel. It is about acknowledging the profound impact she has on my life and the way she inspires me to act with thoughtfulness, integrity, and devotion. I want her to feel that this decision is a reflection of the love that motivates me, a love that is patient, attentive, and deeply respectful. I hope that she senses the meaning behind every choice, every reflection, and every careful consideration. I hope she feels the assurance that she is cherished, valued, and seen in ways that reach beyond words. She is the inspiration behind this moment, and I hope she feels the quiet affirmation of that truth. Now, as I reach the conclusion of this decision, I find that what once seemed like a single moment has unfolded into a journey of thought, reflection, and care. Each consideration, each imagined scenario, each quiet contemplation has led me to understand the depth of my feelings and the importance of showing her that she is at the center of everything I do. This choice is more than a practical step. It is an expression of devotion, a way to honor her presence in my life, and a reflection of the trust and connection we share. I hope she understands that behind every element of this decision is a desire to see her content supported and valued. It is a decision shaped by the hope that she experiences peace, joy, and reassurance as she moves forward, knowing that I am present and intentional in my care for her. I have thought often about the quiet ways in which she inspires me. Her courage in facing the unknown, her gentleness toward others, the clarity with which she expresses her hopes and dreams. All of these qualities have guided my reflections. I wanted my decision to mirror the patience, thoughtfulness, and consideration she embodies every day. It was not made hastily or superficially, but with awareness of its significance, both for her and for the relationship we share. I imagined how she might feel in response, how she might perceive the care invested in every detail, and how this might reinforce the understanding that she is deeply valued. I hope she sees that the essence of this choice is rooted in a quiet, unwavering desire to support her and nurture the happiness she so richly deserves. In considering this choice, I also reflected on the shared moments that have defined our connection. I thought of the laughter and the challenges, the small conversations and the profound silences that together form the tapestry of our bond. I realized that every step I take is influenced by these moments, by the understanding that her presence shapes not only my decisions but also my sense of purpose. It is for this reason that I approached this decision with care, ensuring that it reflects both her individuality and the shared values that bind us. I wanted it to convey a sense of thoughtfulness, a recognition of her unique qualities, and a commitment to her well-being. I hope she senses this dedication, this intention, and this sincere regard for her happiness. The reflection that guided me was not only about immediate outcomes, but about long-term implications. I considered how this choice could provide her with reassurance, clarity, and confidence in the days to come. I imagined the subtle ways it might influence her life, how it could ease burdens, illuminate paths, and foster trust between us. In doing so, I understood that every decision carries the weight of intention, and that intention matters profoundly when it is shaped by care for another person. I wanted her to recognize that every detail, no matter how small, was contemplated with the aim of supporting her life in ways that are meaningful and lasting. This awareness became the foundation of my reflections and the guiding principle behind this step. I have also thought deeply about the responsibility that comes with caring for someone as deeply as I care for her. True care requires attention, empathy, and thoughtfulness. It requires imagining life through the lens of the other, understanding their hopes, fears, and dreams, and acting with sincerity to honor those truths. I approached this decision with these values at the forefront, ensuring that it is not only a reflection of my desires, but also a reflection of her worth, her aspirations, and her happiness. I hope she feels the consideration behind each choice, the patience in every reflection, and the dedication embedded in every thought. This is a decision made not out of obligation, but out of profound respect and genuine affection. As I imagined the future we might share, I realized that decisions like this are opportunities to reinforce trust, build understanding, and cultivate a sense of security. I considered how she might experience this moment, how it could serve as a reminder of her value, and how it could strengthen the connection between us. I wanted her to see that my actions are guided by her needs, that my intentions are shaped by care, and that my commitment is steadfast. I wanted her to recognize that this choice is a reflection of the love and respect I feel, that it embodies my desire to create a life in which she can feel safe, cherished, and confident. It is a deliberate step toward nurturing a bond grounded in sincerity, thoughtfulness, and mutual regard. Throughout this process, I have returned repeatedly to the ways in which she enriches my life. Her presence inspires me to be more attentive, patient, and deliberate in all that I do. She encourages me to consider the impact of my actions, to think carefully about the consequences, and to approach life with a sense of responsibility toward others. In making this choice, I wanted to honor that inspiration, to reflect the gratitude I feel for her influence, and to demonstrate that she is central to my considerations. I hope she senses that every element of this decision is infused with intention, that every reflection was guided by care, and that every moment of thoughtfulness was directed toward supporting her happiness and well-being. I also considered the quiet moments of life that often pass unnoticed but carry profound significance. The way she smiles in comfort, the reassurance of her presence, the gentle strength in her words. All of these things informed the nature of my decision. I wanted it to honor the subtleties of her essence, the nuances of her character, and the richness of the relationship we share. I hoped to create a choice that communicates, without grandeur or fanfare, that she is cherished deeply, that her feelings are considered, and that her well-being is of the highest importance. This reflection became a guiding light, shaping every thought, every plan, and every step of this process. In considering the impact of this decision, I imagined how it could influence not only her perception of my care, but also her sense of trust and confidence in our relationship. I wanted her to see that my actions are deliberate, my intentions clear, and my commitment unwavering. I hoped that by approaching this with patience, thoughtfulness, and empathy, she would feel valued and understood, knowing that she inspires care and consideration in me. This choice, though simple in its outward appearance, carries within it the depth of reflection, sincerity, and affection that I hope she experiences fully. I want her to know that she matters profoundly, and that this decision is a reflection of that truth. Every step of this process has been shaped by the desire to honor her, to recognize her significance, and to create space for her to feel supported. I thought about the ways in which she brings clarity, light, and meaning into my life, and I wanted this choice to reflect that influence. I imagined her feeling reassurance, comfort, and validation, knowing that my intentions were guided by love and respect. This decision became more than a practical consideration. It became an opportunity to demonstrate care in a way that speaks directly to the heart. I wanted her to sense that each reflection, each consideration, each quiet thought was shaped by her presence and the profound impact she has on my life. As I finalized this decision, I found a sense of peace in knowing that it embodies both care and purpose. It is a step that honors the past, considers the present, and looks forward to a future in which she feels secure and cherished. I hope she feels the depth of intention and affection embedded in this choice. I hope she understands that it was not made lightly, but with deliberate thought, careful reflection, and profound care. It is a reflection of her importance, a testament to the trust she has placed in me, and a reminder of the value I place on her happiness. Every element of this decision is guided by the desire to nurture, protect, and celebrate the presence of someone who means so much to me. Finally, I want her to know that this choice is only a single step in a shared journey, one that I hope will continue with mutual understanding, trust, and support. It is a reflection of the love that inspires me to act thoughtfully, a love that seeks to create comfort, reassurance, and joy. I hope she feels secure knowing that my intentions are guided by care, my actions shaped by reflection, and my commitment unwavering. This decision is a quiet promise to place her happiness and well-being at the center of my considerations, a reminder that she is cherished